Hey guys, welcome back to Amber the Baker. Today we're doing banana bread. So banana bread's fun, it's really easy, and most everybody loves it. So basically what I wanted to start to do was you have your bananas. Now, my bananas when I got them, they weren't ripe because I didn't let them just get bad before eating them or anything. I just went out and bought them this morning. So the easiest way to ripe your bananas is to put them in the oven at 300 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, right? But you want to keep checking on them because all ovens are different and all elevation is different. So mine have been in for about 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and give them a check and see what they look like. These are beautiful. This is exactly what you're looking for. You want that dark color on them. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of let these cool off so I can peel them. But this is exactly what you're looking for when you ripe your own bananas. And that's a trick in case you just don't have bad bananas lying around. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes and it's time to check on those bananas in the oven that have been in at 300. So let's go see if they're nice and brown or not. Oh, look at that. That is going to be night and day. So those are what you want them to look like. The 1080p makes them look a lot darker than they are, but when I go to peel them once they cool, I'll show you what we got. But every oven and every elevation is different, so make sure you're checking on these, your oven light on every 10 or so minutes, because this was 25 minutes and they're perfectly done. And I'll see you back when they cool. Okay, our bananas have cooled. They look like this. Means they're ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and get our apron on here, because if you're like me, sometimes baking is not the cleanest activity. So if I can't protect my counters and destroy my kitchen, at least I can do is save my clothes a little time. So, all right. Now, the other side of your bananas. If you do have bananas that look like this on your counter, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do it, I don't want to make banana bread, I'm not in the mood to bake, whatever, you can just mash these, freeze them, and whenever you are ready to make the banana bread, you can take them out of the freezer, thaw them, and they're ready to go. Okay? All right, so we are going to start off with our wet ingredients, and then we go to our dry ingredients, and that's normally how baking goes in general. But what I wanted to show you guys is the prep, right? Because prep is really important if you want to be easy and less stressed out. I have all my recipes written down because guess what? I don't expect anybody to have a recipe memorized if they're the author or not, because things are always changing, things are always evolving. I got scribbles and I've already changed it yesterday. So let's go ahead, start our prep. I'm going to show you how to do it. So we are going to start with our butter, unsalted butter. Always have unsalted butter, because if you use salt in your recipe with salted butter, the salt content is going to be very messed up and you're not going to have as sweet and decadent of a dessert. If you only have salted butter on hand, that is okay. Just take the salt out of the recipe. Okay? Number 2, this should be room temperature. It's going to be room temperature because when we mix it with our eggs, we want them to combine nicely. That's why when a recipe calls for room temperature eggs and room temperature butter, it's really important to have these at room temperature, because if they're both cold, or if one's cold and the other isn't, they're gonna curdle, right? Curdle's the closest word I can think of, but basically they're gonna chunk up together and it's not gonna make a fantastic recipe. So in order to make sure everything is smooth and well combined, we always want to start with our eggs and our butter at room temperature, okay? Now, sugar. Do whatever you want with your sugar. Regular sugar, brown sugar, a combination of both. I like a more decadent, richer banana bread, and that's where this comes in, because the molasses and the brown sugar together make a nice, richer, more bold flavor. While if you use regular white sugar, it's going to be more of a lighter, more banana-y bread. So that's dealer's choice, honestly. But I use brown sugar, light brown sugar, and of course a little bit of my corn syrup. All right, so now we want to make sure we have 2 cups of flour. All-purpose flour, brands don't really matter. We just want to make sure that it's light, fresh flour, okay? Then you're gonna need your baking soda, your salt, and 1/2 cup of sour cream. This is an ingredient that a lot of people don't often add, but bakers add all the time. Sour cream creates moisture. Banana bread is in the oven for a while, 40 to 45 minutes, some even up to an hour depending on your elevation. Okay, that's gonna dry out your banana bread real quick. That's why we add the sour cream, because this is going to protect the moisture in your banana bread as it's baking in the oven. Okay, and of course your vanilla and baking soda, salt, you're good to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna preheat our ovens to 350 degrees. Okay, all right, and now we're gonna get to our prep. My oven's gonna be on a little bit. It's gonna beep at me just because I'm doing the filming. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but normally when your oven beeps, your stuff is ready if you're not doing all the extra filming like I am. So let's go ahead and get her started. So I'm gonna grab a couple of bowls. I'll be right back. All right. Now, the reason I like to prep is because I like a smooth and easy baking transition. When I start, I want to start. So I'm going to start with my metal bowl. We need 2 cups of flour. Now, there are so many ways to do flour. Some people say just take a couple scoops out. Some people say level it with the knife. Some people say scoop it and scrape it. I kind of do a little bit of a hybrid that I have found works best for me. A spoon and a cup of flour. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold this down because it's giving me a little guff. A lot of people have containers, right? I have this container. It's not wide enough to put a cup in. It drives me crazy. But I do the scoop method. As long as it doesn't touch the ends and it's not dense, you're fine. Right? So, boom, I take my little cup of flour here. Now, this is also fully optional. If your flour is old, I always recommend sifting it. But this is a texture thing for me. I don't want any lumps in my flour and I want it as smooth as possible. So just run it through a sifter. It's one of those things that it takes an extra minute or two, but you can taste the difference because when you see a lumpy banana bread versus a nice smooth one, that's when you're like, oh, should have sifted the flour, right? So I'm just gonna do 2 big cupfuls of this and my little top, shaky, 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 to make sure that we're not over a cup. A little bit of a shake, pop it right back in there, and get my spoon out. Okay, and sift, sift, sift. Now, I didn't run my dishwasher last night like I planned to, so all my dishes are going into the sink. But if anyone's like me, my mama taught me to clean while you cook. Normally I have an empty dishwasher to start, but Friday night we just had a chill night and we just forgot to start it. So my dishwasher's full of clean dishes. Okay. Now, I do put ingredients away as I go because I don't like a cluttered space. So flour's in the bowl, we're done with it. So we've prepped our sifted flour. So we're gonna finish prepping our dry ingredients, okay? So we have our salt as our dry ingredient and we have our baking soda. I put my baking soda into a piece of Tupperware because honestly, trying to measure out of that little box is a royal pain. So I just choose to not do it by putting it in a little Tupperware. Saves a lot of time. All right, so we need to do a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of salt for my recipe here. So our teaspoon baking soda, we are just gonna scoop that right up. This is gonna help it rise and be nice and pretty. Sprinkle that right over your flour. Okay, and then our half a teaspoon of salt is what we're going to do next after we put our baking soda away because we're done with it. So now we're gonna go ahead and do half a teaspoon of salt. I take my teaspoon, just fill it up halfway, honestly, because I've done this recipe a million times and because I'm not looking to make a bigger mess than what I have to do. Salt goes away. Now, grab a whisk and we're gonna whisk this up. It's important that we whisk these things together before we add them into any wet ingredients, simply because you want to make sure your baking soda and your salt is distributed evenly, or you'll have a lumpy bread where you'll have some that have chunks of baking soda, it's nice and high and rised, and others that don't, so you have little valleys, right? So just give it a quick little mixy little whip there, and our dry ingredients are prepped. Let's move on to our wet ingredients. Now, wet ingredients are anything that melt during the baking process, excluding these guys. Nobody really knows why they're included, but it's probably because the egg itself is wet. So, well, I'm sure somebody knows, but I haven't looked it up yet. So, we are going to prep our sugar here. I'm using brown sugar, like I said. Now, do you want the easiest way to bring your brown sugar back to life? Put it in a Tupperware, shake it up. That way you don't have a block of brown sugar. I'm gonna use a cup of brown sugar. Okay? Now, no one's ever said you've put too much sugar in anything before. So if you have a little overlap, it's fine. I'm just gonna press it to the side of my container to make sure it's packed. Bada bing, bada boom, done. Now, brown sugar goes away because we are done with it. Set it off to the side. Teaspoon of vanilla extract. I am only measuring this honestly because of the video. Normally I just chuck it in. Sometimes it's a little extra. Sometimes it's a little more, but for the sake of consistency, I like to just use a shot glass and a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna fill it up, pop it on in there. Boom, your vanilla's prepped. That's my bowl for the wet ingredients. So I'm just gonna tap that off into there. Waste less, taste more. Put my vanilla away. All right, so now we are gonna do a teaspoon of my corn syrup. This is kind of my secret ingredient. I say secret, but it's really not. We're gonna take a little bit of a teaspoon of that, and for sake of dishes, I'm just gonna chuck this in with our vanilla, right? Again, this is gonna make it just richer, a little bit more decadent. I like to make my stuff a little bit richer and a little bit more decadent because it goes longer, right? So people wanna eat less, but it's still just as delicious. Unless you're like me and you're trying to start a weight loss journey and decadent doesn't stop you, you still eat the whole thing. The goal is little goes longer, further, excuse me. Put that away because we are done with it. All right. And obviously our butter and our eggs are prepped for us. We are just gonna get our sour cream ready. 1/2 cup sour cream. Let's go ahead and grab that. All right. 1/2 cup of sour cream in my little bowl. Now, some people leave them in the measuring containers. Please feel free to do that if you want less dishes. I completely understand. That's the thing about baking once a week is I don't really mind the extra dishes. But if this was, you know, more of a regular thing, yeah, that would be, I would definitely want to do less. So, always have a scraper. And that's it, right? The only extra thing you need to prep is if you want some walnuts and some chocolate chips in yours. Get your chocolate chips ready and crush your walnuts. These are a lovely gift from my parents over the holiday season, and they will work. So now I'm gonna put my sour cream away. All right. That goes right back into the fridge. Anything dirty goes into the sink. And everything else goes back into our places where it belongs. So, let's go ahead and get a move on. So, we are going to, now that we are ready to bake, we're gonna bake. And this is where your prep really shines through. So, we're gonna start by creaming our butter and our sugar. You can use a regular mixer by hand. You can use a hand mixer. You can go ahead and whisk it on your own if you'd like. I have a clear KitchenAid bowl. The KitchenAid is my pride and joy, so I like to use her. So I'm gonna put my butter in. I'm gonna put my brown sugar in. And we're gonna get our whisk attachment. You might hear this mixer a little bit more than you should, but let's go ahead and run it. Now you just want these creamed together, right? So we're looking for a texture that is fluffy, and you're looking for no loose sugar, right? So I'm gonna crank this. Okay. Halfway through, you're gonna see it stick. That's normal. We're gonna go ahead and take our scraper and scrape it down. Butter likes to stick on the side of your dishes. It's just what it does. So halfway through, you're gonna scrape your sides, loosen up your bottom. If you're using a hand mixer, you're gonna wanna scrape your sides as well. And then just scrape it off right on those mixer blades so that we don't lose any sugar in there. Okay, run it again. Oh yeah, that's good. So here you can see that it is mixed together and there's no loose sugar, right? Because we don't want to over mix early, because when you're mixing, you're building gluten binds. And if you over bind it, you're gonna get layers of what I like to call concrete. When you bind your gluten, you're actually looking for like little spider web layers. You want them to be together and strong, but you don't want them too strong. Otherwise, you're gonna have a dense piece of cement bread, and nobody wants that. So you want to mix those just until they are combined. And then we're gonna add our eggs. A lot of recipes tell you to add your eggs one at a time. You don't have to do that. You can add both of them. The reasons they say, hey, add one at a time. Oops, a little bit of shell in there. Luckily, this is for my family, so my husband and I, so I don't have to put gloves on. But the reason they tell you to put one in at a time is because if you don't break and mix your egg yolks together, you can have a poached egg and a baked good. So that's why most recipes say do them one at a time to make sure that they're fully combined and your yolks are broken and mixed up. If you add both of them, again, just check your mixer and make sure that they're both broken and combined. Just gonna toss my eggshells. This is actually the cap to this bowl, but I use it to hold eggs so they don't roll around everywhere. All right, and making a mess already. Bust up your egg yolks. Okay, good. And get those in combined. While those are combining, you're gonna take your mixture of your vanilla and your molasses or your cornstarch. And I'm just gonna drop that in there as it goes. That's gonna be so sweet and yummy. All right. We're gonna let that go as well. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my page. All right. Scrape my sides because it's starting to stick. And we don't want only 3/4 of our ingredients to be combined. Let it rip. This is a bowl strictly for my spatula because I don't want to get it everywhere. And again, beautiful. Once it's smooth and just combined, that's where you want to stop it. So let me just take this off here, kind of show you what it should look like. That's what it should look like. It's nice and smooth. It should coat your bowls gently on the side, but there's no big chunks in there. Okay. Next is our sour cream. And we are just gonna go ahead and plop that in there to protect this bread. Keep it nice and moist instead of having it dry out. Now, the cool thing about it is you won't taste it at all. Sour cream in baking is used for moisture a lot. But the cool thing about all the sugar and eggs and all that stuff is it bakes, the taste bakes out. So don't worry, your bread won't taste sour. Ooh, there it goes. And again, just until it's blended in. Boom, done. It's that easy. All right. So our dry ingredients, we already did those, so those are ready. So now we gotta go for our bananas. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and peel these. Now you'll see from earlier how black they were. But look at how beautiful that stayed on the inside. All those juices in there, that's the sugar that we kind of expressed it. Now, obviously, it's gonna taste more banana-y if you let these brown on their own. Some people put them in a brown paper bag on their windowsill if they're looking to express the process. Some people just leave them out for up to like a week-ish. Some people 2 weeks. I think that's a little too long. But either way, you can make banana bread in a week, you can make banana bread in a day. It's just up to your schedule. Okay, ooh, look at that, that's so good. Gotta wash my hands again. These are all sticky. Now, you want those sugars to incorporate strictly because you want this to look really good. Some people use their hands. I go ahead and I just use my mixer paddle that I used, just so that I'm not wasting any excess that comes off when I scrape my sides. And your bananas, when they're starting to turn, are gonna be super soft anyways. So you don't need to put a lot of effort into it. A lot of people think you need to mash them perfectly until there's 0 lumps. You don't have to do that because we're putting it in our stand mixer, number 1. And number 2, a tiny little banana chunk in the banana bread. Tasty. So I'm just gonna keep this going. Okay, some people use their hands, which is my preferred method, but I ran out of gloves. So some people use their mixers. You can use your mixer. I don't feel like wasting another bowl is really worth it. And some people use a regular stand whisk, some people use a fork. Honestly, whatever gets it to look like this, do you, boo-boo. Okay. Alright, that looks good now, nice and mashed and mushy. So I'm going to put it to the side. 3 large bananas is fine. Alright, put this in our sink here. So, that's actually not up to the mush I like it, so I'm going to keep going a little bit more. Now, just don't use yellow bananas, okay? Because it's not going to be as banana-y as you want it to be, and it's going to taste like just a sweet bread rather than that banana bread coming on through. There we go. That's more of what you want it to look like right in there. So we're going to set that off to the side. We're going to pop our mixer open. Boop. Take our dry ingredients, add half of it. You can eyeball it, you can scoop it, whatever you got to do. I just use my eyes here. You see how smooth that falls in there? Almost like fake snow because of that beautiful sift that we did. Lock it, put it on low unless you want flour in your face. I've made that mistake one too many times. I think I'm scarred from it. I'm gonna go ahead and wash because there's a little bit of banana on here. I don't like sticky or gross on my hands. Never have, never will. Alright. Now you just want this to incorporate. You don't want to over mix because again, those flour's in there, so those gluten is really gonna bind. Okay, once the flour is mostly mixed in, you can crank up your level of mix because it's not going to splash in your face. Okay, alright. Beautiful. So once it's just incorporated and mixed in, about like that, there's still a little bit of spare flour from our mixer head, that's fine. Now, you are going to add all of this beautiful banana. And then we're going to mix this to combine as well. Baking is a task of layers. You layer in a bunch of ingredients, you mix them in properly so that your textures are good and your flavors are fully incorporated. And it's a game of patience, right? And the more patient that you are and the less corners that you cut, the better your goods are going to taste. So, go ahead and crank that up to a low medium, so it's a 4 for my mixer here. Once they're in, I'm going to buff it up to a 6. Oh yeah, that looks so good. And again, just incorporated. Okay? See how it gets lumpier and lumpier and thicker? There's little bumps in there, those are your banana. That's fine. Now we're gonna take the rest of our dries, pop it in. And again, woo, my flour loves my counter, it always says. That or my face. And we're gonna put it on, lock it, put it on low. Let that flour start mixing in. Wipe my mess up. I clean my floors after every bake. That's just good practice, right? And once that flour's starting to combine, we're gonna kick it up. This is gonna make a very thick batter, it always has. I'm gonna take my loaf pan now. I'm a huge fan of parchment paper. You can spray it if you'd like. You can put aluminum foil on it if you'd like. Or you can make the mistake that me and my mom and my husband did and end up in a Costco business instead of a regular Costco and get 2 massive things of parchment paper that'll last you for the rest of your life. Honestly, not mad about it. So I'm gonna grab my kitchen scissors now. All right, and that is just combined. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to pick this up. So while we create our parchment paper, that's going to kind of just drip off a little bit. Okay. Now, reason I prefer parchment is because when it's done baking, you can just pop it right out with the parchment, right on your cooling rack. Nothing sticks. You're not risking anything. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of risking it. I risked it with my lemon bars last week, and that pan is finally clean. Took a minute. Alright, so just gonna go ahead and fit that in my pan so that the bottom is fully coated and it has a little bit of wings on the sides, right? Beautiful. I'm just gonna kind of fold that in there best I can. It's gonna look like that. Boom. Alright. Throw away my excess because I don't have a pan small enough to fit the excess. Normally I'll save it if I can use it in another baked good because wasting less is saving money. Alright. Now we're gonna go ahead and tap. Tap, 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 tap. Aggressively. And I'm going to pop this right in here. Okay, grab my one. It's not my pretty white spatula, but this one will do. We're going to pop this off of our mixer. Boom. You can't use the spout with this because the batter, again, is thick. Put my mixer back in the corner where she goes. Here's where you can go ahead, add your stuff, right? My husband requested walnuts. He normally doesn't make very many requests, so I obliged. These ones I pre-crushed. I pre-crushed them. I have one thing of walnuts that's pre-crushed in my cabinet and one that isn't. Now you want to take this off your mixer when you do it, because again, gluten binds. This is a half cup. I'm throwing a couple in there. Okay? And we're going to take it. You're going to fold it in. Now fold means we just go under and over. And we're going to go under and over as many times as it takes for them to get just combined without making those gluten binds so heavy it becomes a cement bread. You can stir it a little bit, but I do not recommend. All right. And then you'll see how it's got its little chunkies in there. It looks good. So this normally makes more than a loaf. But let's see how much we can get in here. Don't fill your pan more than 3/4 of the way because this is going to rise and you do not need your oven coated in excess batter because you filled it up too much. So look how thick that is. Ooh, that's gonna be so good. That's why it takes long to bake too, because that oven's gotta get all this cooked. So the counter's gonna get destroyed here. I'm gonna go ahead and just spread it into all the corners here. This does not need to be perfect. All right. And then I'm gonna keep filling it until we get 3/4 of the way full. Now, if you have any excess, that's totally fine. You can either make another loaf or you can make muffins. I recommend doing muffins out of it because you can top your muffins with walnuts or chocolate chips, or some people even add cinnamon to their banana bread, which I've had it, it's great. I don't prefer cinnamon in here, it's just not to my palate, but it does add an extra layer of flavor in there if you prefer. All right, so once you have it spread out in your dish, just like this, we're gonna just even out the top. The more even your loaf is, the more even it will bake. And that's what we want, because we don't need parts that are under, parts that are over. None of that nonsense. All right. So now, leave our parchment just a little bit over there. Clean up our edges. Because a lot of the times when people do pans, right, of just cakes in general, they don't clean off the edges. And because they don't clean off the edges start burning before the cake is cooked, and it just kind of scares people. I've done it, everybody's done it. So just make sure that you just take a little paper towel or something and just wipe that excess off the edge of your pan, just so that you don't think your bread is burning, when in reality it's not, it's just those edges. Okay, good. Clean it off there, grab my paper towel. So this is what I mean, right? Just take a paper towel, just boop, clean that up. And it just makes it prettier. Just a prettier presentation. And then I'm just gonna even out that little lump that I put in there with a spoon. Boop, boop, boop. Nice and even, nice and clean. And then this is gonna go in a 350-degree oven that we preheated earlier for 45 minutes. Take a toothpick to it at 40, because all ovens are different, all elevation is different. That's why a lot of people shy away from baking, because the bake times, they don't match the recipe often, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You just gotta learn to just check on it every once in a while. Leave your oven light on if you need to. But let's put this in the oven. 350, 45 minutes. We're gonna check it at 40. Good work, everyone. Now we just gotta let it bake. Don't open the oven until you're ready to check it. Let it cook. I'm gonna go ahead, start getting cleaned up here, because this is bugging the crud out of me. All right, so I will see you when our banana bread is ready. All right, so it has been 42 minutes for me. I took a toothpick in it at 40 and it wasn't quite done. So we're gonna go ahead and take it out now. And we're gonna test it one more time. All right. Oh yeah, that looks good. Could grab it, that would be helpful. Yep. There we go. Tiny hands and big oven mitt just don't mix. All right. So, toothpick method, tried and true. It's never done me wrong. Take that in, stick it in, pop it out. Ooh yeah. Nice and clean. It's got little chunks of cooked bread on it, so that's totally fine. Let's turn our oven off and our oven light off. I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of here now. This is where your parchment paper becomes your hero, because you're able to just grab the parchment in the hot pan and just loosen it. And then once it's loosened, this oven is so big for my tiny hands. Once it's loosened, you're able to just give it a little flip, get it out of the pan to prevent over baking. Peel your parchment off. Look at that nice flat bottom there. And then you can just flip it back over. Beautiful. So now we're gonna let this finish by sitting on your counter for an hour. Wait, trust me, just wait. It will be worth it, all right? Now, some people don't wait an hour. It's a little ooey and gooey, but as soon as this thing gets cut and it gets oxidized, that's when the drying process is gonna go ahead and kick in. But you wanna make sure that this is perfectly cooked first, because it is currently still cooking, right? So it's still hot, still getting everything adjusted. That butter is gonna go from melted coming back to room temperature, which is going to create stability so that your loaf, when you cut it, it's not gonna fall into 47 pieces. Wait the hour. If you can't wait the hour because it's been smelling up your whole kitchen for the last 45 minutes, I totally get it. cut off a slice, wrap it up real good with foil, I would say, and then just kind of let it finish cooling. But if you can wait the hour, great. If you can't, at least give it 15 minutes. All right, and there you have it. A perfectly good loaf of nice big fluffy banana bread on my wire rack to cool off right over here. I want to thank you guys so much for choosing me to help you bake banana bread today. This is my first video, so please forgive the editing. I've never done it before. And I'm really grateful that you guys chose me to watch, and to all family and friends out there, I hope you really enjoy your banana bread. To new viewers, to new people, welcome so much. I'm so happy to have you. Please consider liking and subscribing to this video for more content. Once a week I'm going to be putting up a new video. Next week hopefully I'll have maybe a little mic for less background noise. But please consider liking and subscribing to this channel for more beautiful baked goods. I hope you have a great day.